Hey guys, we're talking about fats today. We are gonna look at it as a macronutrient. You got protein, you got carbs, you got fat.
Which I think I have a lot in common with fat, because I feel like fat and we are just simply misunderstood oftentimes. So let's kind of clear the air a little bit and let's learn about fat. Let's understand it. Sound good?
Peel back the layers.
Yes.
So, looking at the macronutrient fat, you're looking at a much more energy dense macronutrient. So you're looking at 9 calories per gram of fat. So in comparison, protein, carbs have 4 calories per gram. So
how much energy that you can get out of a gram?
1 gram of fat.
Yep.
Okay.
So just like we talk about like fat burning cardio, like when you burn fat, you yield more energy from fat that you also burn in your body.
Looking at how much fat should you really get in a day, we're looking 20 to 35% of your total calories need to come from fat.
Right.
And 10% is your saturated fat. Really, you shouldn't go above that.
Fats.
Really, the only way to know if your fats are in check, your lipids, is go to your doctor.
Yep.
Luke's got a good example of that.
Yeah, so that's the trick. You want to make sure, like, if you don't know where you're at, if you don't know your levels, you better go. Have them check it out. That's how you'll know, like you mentioned, that you got to make sure that you stay below 10% saturated fat.
Yep.
That's a general guideline, but go to your doctor, have them check your lipids, and find out where you're at. So for example, I was at the eye doctor, and if you go to the eye doctor, sometimes they can tell if you have high cholesterol just by looking at your eyes.
Yep.
There's like a halo in your eye that the eye doctor can see, and it's like a haze, I guess. But he said, hey, you have high cholesterol, you better go get that checked. So I said, all right, well, I did. And I went and got my lipids checked, and the doctor said, hey, you do have high cholesterol. And I said, oh no. He's like, no, it's HDL. It's your HDL is high enough to where it doesn't harm you. So you want to look at your HDL. That might be high, and mine is, but that's your good,
healthy cholesterol.
Yep.
H equals happy.
Yep.
So good numbers on your HDL. You want to watch that LDL.
Look at it as a ratio. So if your ratio is out of whack, so if you have very high HDL, chances are your LDL is going to be also relatively high. However, there's a specific ratio you want to be in, and that's how you can really tell if you're a little bit out of whack with your nutrition.
So let's look at the fats that we really want to be consuming. So you want to be consuming your mono and polyunsaturated fat. It really just has to do with the chemical makeup of those fats.
Yep.
So mono unsaturated fats. You got your olives, olive oil, peanuts, sesame oil, your avocados, my personal favorite.
Me too.
I love avocados.
Yep.
Nuts and peanut butter, but also.
And then polyunsaturated. You're looking at, so flaxseed is a great one for that, and then fatty fish. So like fish oil, we talk a lot about getting plenty of fish oil. And the one thing you can look at, I think this is kind of neat, if you are a person that if you drink a ton of water, you drink water, and you're definitely drinking your half of your body weight in ounces. And if you look at your in-body, if you're a gal, if your total body water is less than 50% of your total weight, that could indicate that you are low in these fatty acids. You're low in polyunsaturated fats. So because these fats have a lot to do with improving the health of the lining of your cells. And if the cell lining is compromised due to lack of consumption of that fatty acid,
it'll show.
Yeah, it'll show, and that means that water that you're consuming is not getting in your cells. It's basically just passing right through you.
Besides the dietary roles of fat, we also need body fat for specific things. So you're looking at insulation. Like you do need that, especially living in the tundra. We need to be able to keep our heat in. And then just structures and function as well.
If your goal is to put muscle on.
Yep.
If you want to build muscle, your body needs hormones to build muscle.
That's a huge driver of that.
So your body needs hormones to build muscle. Your body makes hormones out of fat. So you got to make sure you have plenty of healthy fat.
It's a huge driver
to build hormones. So cholesterol is not necessarily a bad hormone. All right. In excess, yes, but almost anything in excess.
Anything in moderation is key.
Tell us about like the bad fat. Like what's the worst fat? Like if we gotta stay away from something, talk to me about that.
Trans fat, guys. The worst one to avoid. So it's really commonly found in a lot of the highly processed, your baked goods. So those donuts, No, but again, moderation. So trans fat, it's linked to a lot of cardiovascular disease, guys. So heart attacks, clots, etc. Because it just raises that bad LDL cholesterol. It raises it up faster than any other fat is going to do. Your stick margarine, guys, eat the butter.
Yeah,
Your
real
good,
butter.
real old-fashioned,
Right.
grass-fed butter.
Yeah.
That's don't go by that margarine, guys. Okay. So trans fat is the one to definitely avoid. Do you have anything to add?
We are here to talk to you about fat burning pills.
Fat burners.
Thermogenics, diet pills, a few like old school fen.
Hydroxycut.
Hydroxycut's one, Rip Fuel, if you remember some of those. What was another one? Chromium picolinate.
Oh gosh.
There's like all these things. So we're gonna, that's
Too young.
It's a can of worms. There's a lot of things going on with fat burning pills. But now, let's disclaimer this. Can we disclaimer this quick?
Yeah, we need to.
Okay. Yeah, you can't out thermogenic a bad diet. And what do we mean by bad diet? Yeah.
Bad nutrition.
So that could take two different turns, right?
Yeah,
so bad nutrition could be Taco Bell 3 times a day. That could be bad nutrition.
Yes.
What also could be bad is eating well below your metabolic baseline.
Yes.
So that could be bad also. So iceberg lettuce and ice shavings all day.
They don't count.
That's also bad because that will also ruin your metabolism. So now, if you're checking the box, you're burning fat, you're building lean mass, you're seeing results, and you want to accelerate,
Then let's talk.
Let's talk. So we're going to talk about how we're going to split it up into two things. Basically, we're going to talk about caffeine, and we're also going to talk about botanicals. Okay, everybody say botanical.
Botanicals.
And
we're in a Zen garden, drawing lines in sand.
Yep. So just take a tour into your fairy garden, okay, and get ready for this. So
get that right.
Caffeine, what that does after you consume it, it triggers a hormonal response slash neurotransmitter called epinephrine. So epinephrine, that's your fight or flight hormone or neurotransmitter. And what that does is it's fight or flight. So when your brain releases epinephrine, it also has an effect in helping you release fat for fuel. If you think about it, your body's pretty smart. So it releases epinephrine, triggering your fat to be used for fuel because you're in that fight or flight mode and you're gonna need some energy to burn.
Yep.
So that's kind of how caffeine works, okay? So Spark, for example, has about 120 milligrams of caffeine. Biofuel has about the same. So that's usually about the dosage. Some products will have like 300 in it, which is a lot.
Too much.
So you gotta find what's right for you, but that's how caffeine works. But that's not where thermogenics and or fat burning pills end. We're also gonna talk about botanicals.
So one really common, probably sitting in your spice cupboard right now, is cinnamon. So cinnamon actually is the thermogenic for your body. So what does that mean? Like we can sit here and say thermogenic or thermogenesis all day long. So basically your body's going into consuming, you consume that cinnamon and that thermogenesis, it's breaking down. So your body uses more calories to break down that cinnamon than what's actually in the cinnamon. So like if you look at a teaspoon of cinnamon, it's about 6 calories. You consuming that teaspoon of cinnamon actually increases your body's ability to produce heat, thermogenesis, by 20%. Those fat cells.
So your body gets more out of it than it does to
consume it. Really
burn it. So you get a burn above and beyond.
Above and beyond.
That's fantastic. So a couple other things. So ginger is very similar to that. Yep. In cinnamon along with ginger are also very effective in helping control insulin. It kind of acts like insulin, so it helps reduce blood sugar. So a lot of times you'll see a cinnamon used like 30 minutes prior to a meal. Like you'll see, like I know, for example, the M&S Delta. I believe it's in the pack that you take 30 minutes before you eat because, like I said, it helps stabilize blood sugar.
You've got green tea extract, so a lot of them are going to show that as an active ingredient. So green tea alone is caffeinated. Green tea extract is decaffeinated, so there's no caffeine in that. There's benefits to taking green tea extract aside from thermogenesis. It can help regulate blood pressure, it can help regulate blood sugar. It's great for your brain health as well. So that's why it's usually listed as that active ingredient in there.
Overall, I would recommend caffeine prior to workout. And some thermogenics can be beneficial to you, but you got to be dialed in with your diet. You have to be getting results first, and then there's a time to play. So talk to your coach on the steps that you should take to get into something that would help you out. But now let's just show you what not to do. So take a look at this.
You just take it, and I guess you count to 10, or you take it and I don't know. All right, so here's the cinnamon.
So let's talk about that really quick. Why do a power clean?
Proper mechanics. Life often mimics things in here, so teaches us how to use and move the weight through our hips, and not so much our backs.
Yeah. All right. Power clean, bar, right in the shins. Your shins should be cold because the bar is right on them. Okay. Back is straight. All right. Her head is up. Okay. And she's gonna pull, pop, and squat, catching the bar right on her shoulder, so her knuckles are not on her shoulders. Okay. Her hands are wide enough just outside her shoulders. The bar is actually resting on her shoulder muscles, not her collarbone. Okay, so that is a full power clean. Helps teach your body how to manipulate heavy objects efficiently. You're working your legs, you're working your core, you're working your upper body. So it's a full body movement. Again, squatting down, shins right on the bar, back is straight. Okay, that first pull there, hips through, squat, and catch. Good job.